Hello everyone, welcome back to RetroComms. As I'm sure some of you saw in the poll, Pantech was selected to go next. They have quite an array of interesting and innovative designs. Sadly, I don't have too many of their handsets. I only have 9 here, as you can see. But for the most part, they are some very interesting devices. We'll start up here at the top with the Pantech C3. It is a tiny little handset. Me without my tape measure here close to show you guys the exact dimensions, maybe another day. But do note, just comparing to this Pantech Breeze up here, which we will talk about next, it is tiny. It is dwarfed by nearly every device in my collection. There is a Samsung of similar proportions, but this one is just so tiny and cute. I'm sure that this would have been an excellent phone for someone in school or something like that to stealthily pull it out and fire off a quick SMS in class. It did have a camera. It's got a proprietary Pantech charger down here, which will be a common theme across all these devices. And for something so small, it seems to be pretty feature-rich for what it is. I think that's even a 3.5mm jack right there. I'm not quite sure. It could have been the smaller 2.5s that were also common in that time. But overall, very unique little device. Next up, the Pantech Breeze. It is a pretty basic little clamshell marketed towards an older audience with these nice large buttons here, these 3 little speed dial buttons up at the top. It did have a little camera back here. This one's in good condition. Very streamlined with its design. Its charging port is, I believe, under this little flap right here, which fortunately this one still has, if I don't break it trying to get it off on camera. 1 second. There we go. Oh, its port is right there. It looks almost like a micro USB, but it is a Pantech proprietary charger, but those are fairly common. And up next, as you might be able to guess by the similar design language of these devices, this is the Breeze 2. It was also catered to an older audience with some slight design revisions, perhaps slightly better camera and specs and things like that, but pretty similar to its predecessor. Nice textured back here, fairly grippy. There's that proprietary charger again. I have another Breeze 2 over here in blue. Same story here, except, nope, this one lost its flap somewhere along the way. Both of these did, but that's all right, that happens. Up next, we have the Pantech Pursuit. It is a landscape QWERTY slider. You know how I feel about these sliders. Some of my favorites. Interesting design here. And this was during a time when messaging phones like this were fairly common and would usually be accompanied by a touchscreen in the front with this slide-out keyboard to make interface when the phone is closed like this a little bit easier. This one has a slightly loose battery cover, but nothing too egregious. It's got the little camera, proprietary charging port over here. Interesting little device. And you'll see going forward, we see quite the range of keyboards from Pantech. Up next, we have this Pantech Pursuit 2. Got these nice green accents here. It is a portrait slider with full QWERTY keyboard and a touchscreen here. Kind of interesting that they switched the direction of the slider from the Pursuit and the Pursuit 2. I would not have even thought that these two devices were from the same family or the same model line just by looking at them. When I was researching the models for this video, I found that these were the Pursuit and Pursuit 2, and it's very rare that you see such a drastic shift in design. If you know of any more instances like this, let me know in the comments to where you've seen a design change as drastic as switching the direction of the slider from the version 1 to the version 2. It's definitely a bigger change than we see up here from the Breeze to the Breeze 2, where it's just a gradual, incremental change. But I do admire Pantech for taking these leaps in innovation. But if you really want to see leaps in innovation continue, because I have saved some of the best for last. Especially with this one, this is my favorite, I think, the Pantech Impact. Love this landscape flip type design. We don't see much of that. The LG Envy is another one of note. We've got this capacitive, I believe it's a capacitive touch number pad. We've got a small little display like for notifications and things of the like, or just for making calls. You can do that with the phone closed, but not nearly as much as you could do with these touch screens here. But where the real appeal of this phone is seen is with this internal keyboard here. I'm sure this would have been quite comfortable to type on. The user interface was a little bit different, but probably not too tough to get used to. It seems to be a very comfortable device. Neat little camera up there. Got its proprietary charging port somewhere around here. Oh, that battery cover was trying to slide off. Yep, right there. And I have another one of these Pantech Impacts in pink. I love the vibrant white against the pink on this one, but the black and the blue on that blue one has got to be my favorite. I love this design. But it is a tough competition between which of these Pantechs is my favorite, because here we've got the Pantech Matrix. But you thought it was just a portrait slider. It's also landscape. This is the only, I guess you would call this a dual slide phone. The only other one I can think of is the Matrix Pro, which is the successor to this one. I guess if you can't decide if you want the slide up, like the Pursuit 2, or like the LG, I think it was an LG Chocolate or LG Shine that had that. If you like to text that way for quick SMSs or dialing numbers, or if you want the full QWERTY keyboard experience on the landscape sliders, like for that Pursuit 2 there, or a Motorola Rival or Droid, or LG Scoop is good examples. And this one seems very ergonomic. You've got the little space bar here in the center, evenly spaced where both thumbs can get good access and coverage. I would like to get more of these. They have some interesting color variants, but I do thoroughly enjoy this red one. That is all for today. This is a pretty quick one. Didn't have too many devices to go through. Model names are pretty easy to remember. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll have the next poll up here shortly. I may take a little bit longer to get the next one out. We'll just have to see how it goes. But until then, this is RetroComms signing off.